roads and make that money flow. We'll keep the shiny side up wherever we go. Set your own schedule, master of the road. Hauling freedom's cargo, lightening up your load. Tips and tricks for truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling 60 truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain. On that line from sunrise to moonshine. Owner operators, this show's for you. Tune in, get tips, and roll on through. From diesel fumes to mountain views, we'll guide your way. Hauling grit and glory every single day. On the rubber, feel the freedom in every bend. Driven trucking, your best highway friends. Staying driven hard in it every mile. Truckers, yeah, we're helping you. From dawn till dusk, we'll see it through. Staying driven hard in every mile. Hunting gears and wearing a smile. From hustling city streets to the country lane. Driven trucking, we ease the strain. Yeah, the strain. Stay driven.
Good morning. How we doing? How we doing? It's been like a week and a half, at least since the last stream was due. And yeah, growing pains, growing pains. Switching over systems. Yeah, I was using a MacBook before, and now I'm on PC, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I keep telling myself that, but it's like every little thing that I go to try to do, there's something else to do. Something like it's been wild. All kinds of things. I'll update you guys here in a minute if this right eye would stop being blurry. If you're catching this on the replay, look down in the comment section, top the pinned comment. We'll just click that little link, the timestamp in there, and it'll take you directly to the weather update as well as the trucking market update. Now, that being said, hi guys, how's it going? Hope you guys have been making money in my absence, my hiatus. Couple of things. Excited. Edited a video yesterday. So, I told you guys that I will be putting out, kind of normal videos. I'm hoping for once a week. It should be once a week. So look for that this week, possibly today, but I don't know if it'll necessarily come out today. But it'll be this week, certainly. So I'm really excited about that. Excited to get back into it. That felt really good. It was a challenge. Like I said, it's been a challenge. I wound up buying a computer. The computer that I wanted to build was it just wasn't within the price range that I wanted, or that I could build it for, at least the one that I wanted to build. So I found a pretty good deal on one that was already built. The guy seemed to be knowledgeable, so that was nice. It had some of the things that I wanted, but I did have to. It had to undergo surgery at my hip's expense. Apparently, laying on the ground at 42 years old hurts a little bit. That hurt for a few days, so that was interesting. Just getting old. Just getting old. It's fun. That being said, hey, time for an old joke, right? A good dad joke. If you could please hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. In return, I'll reward you with a funny little dad joke today. Hopefully funny, right? Let's see. So, what's a vampire's favorite ship? A blood vessel. I like vampires. I like vampire movies, shows. Apparently, vampire jokes too. Good morning. Good morning, Sevenfold. How's it going? If you can't find them, grind them. Yeah, that's a fact. Wait, all the trucks are automatics with professional steering wheel holders. Man, I'm sure. Good morning, work harder. Wake up, man. Time for coffee. Cheers. Josh the Vegan, good morning. Howdy from Wyoming. Man, I hope it's not snowing up there. I imagine probably not. I don't know. We're going to look at the weather here in a minute. But I imagine that it's getting cool up there. It got cool down here in Houston area for like a week, and then all of a sudden we're back up in the 90s and hundreds. It's crazy. I can't stand the weather down here, but it is what it is. Yeah, man. How you guys been? How you guys? What you guys been up to? How's the markets been? Looking at kind of the heat map this morning, looks like it might be a little rough. I did not keep up with it over the past week and a half. I did have my kids, and through the weekend, and had them for an extra day. That was fun. We had a blast, and yeah, so just took a little bit of a break. Did some brainstorming. Did the whole PC thing, put all that together. Still a work in progress. I was yesterday, on Monday, I said I put out a community post. If you guys saw that, it said that I was going to stream yesterday. I apologize. When I went to go stream yesterday morning, like just nothing is set up, and I don't know, for whatever reason I've had a difficult time getting everything set up. OBS, which is one of the main reasons why I switched operating systems, was to use that. If you don't know, it's a streaming software. It's been a what to set up, and I've tried twice, and apparently I'm just not as dumb, or even as dumb as I think I am. I'm dumber. Tried setting that up twice, failed miserably. So I'm back on Streamlabs. um, but yeah, like I said, anyway, all right, I'll quit rambling. Isaac snowed in Yellowstone and Pikes Peak last week. Nice. Market's still rough. Yeah. I mean, I imagine so. I didn't expect, kind of a big boost. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. Oh, by the way, how's the audio? Yeah, I should have asked that earlier, right? How's the audio? Is it all right? Does it need to be turned down? Yeah, I mean, obviously I'll go back and check the stream afterward, but also, how is the audio on like the song and that little bumper, the little logo that lights up or that sets on fire? If you could drop that in the comments, kind of let me know how that's doing. I would greatly appreciate that. But without further ado, let's dive right in. By the way, I'm going to be looking this way whenever I'm doing the market update, because I kind of have to. The way the monitors are set up now, it's just everything's different. Everything's different, and I'm not an agent of change. I don't like it. It's because I'm old. All right, starting off with the weather update. I use Weather Street, if you don't know. If you're out there on the roads, this is not just for owner-operators, this is for truck drivers too. You should always keep up with the weather. This is just a very, very generic overview of what is happening out there. I'm just kind of pointing you to the regions that, hey, there's weather and might be possible upcoming weather. You should do your best to keep up with what's going on, so that way you're not delayed and you can make the most money. So looks like we've got a lot. It's foggy up through the very center of the United States. Very humid here down in Houston, and we had a little bit of rain yesterday, but that's a bit surprise. I imagine that has a lot to do with the fogginess. Anyway, so we've got, the whole, basically anything east of the Mississippi, you're getting rained on today. And it looks kind of bad, the south and, kind of the middle of the nation. So watch out for that. I do know that there's a hurricane headed towards Florida. Obviously, keep your eye out on that. I have no idea when that's supposed to land, but that's obviously a concern. And then up there in the northwest, it looks like you've got, which is going to be a theme, this winter. Looks like you've got something moving in. So let's scroll through a couple of days and kind of see what's going on. Yeah, that northwest looks like a smaller one, and it looks like it's going to kind of blow through over the next couple of days. But that the system that's on the eastern side of the United States looks like it's going to be rough, heavy rainfall for the next couple of days, maybe few days. I don't know. Don't like to go out further than that because meteorologists are the only ones that can be wrong more than half the time and still keep their job. Must be nice, right? All right. So moving into the trucking market update. So this is where I like to start. This is the national load count. Now, what this is just going to tell us what states have more loads in or less loads in than trucks sitting in them. This is a very generic overview. This will help us to kind of give us an idea of what's going on in the future. And, yeah, so let's dive into that. Alabama looking rough, down twice the amount of trucks headed that way as to loads out. So really rough. Arkansas, right there at that 50% mark for early in the week. That's not looking good for the Arkansas area. Arizona, I mean, rough shape. 492 loads in, to 225 out. California is looking okay. 2,056 loads in to 2,332 out. From what I remember, that's a little bit up on the load count, so that's good. Colorado, 562 loads in to 301 out. That's about par for Colorado, but it does seem like the loads out are a little bit up, so that's good. Connecticut, 260 loads in, 139 out. DC, 20 loads headed that way, 0 loads out. Delaware, 98 loads in to 36 loads out. Florida's still really bad shape. 2,391 loads in to 650 loads out. Now, what I will say is that's about the same, or the average amount of trucks headed that way, but that's about twice the amount of loads out. So still horrible. I mean, I don't want to sprinkle a donut on, some dog crap or sprinkle some sugar on dog crap and call it a donut, but it is what it is. Georgia, 1,858 loads in to 1,185 out. Very bad shape, but once again, seeing the volume increase, which is good. Iowa, 353 loads in to 442 loads out. That's solid, right? Not as good as not as the best that we've seen Iowa, but really good. Idaho, 80 loads in, 230 loads out. So that Northwest starting to show strong as it was a couple of weeks ago. Illinois, 1,208 loads in, 2,049 loads out. Love to see it. That's really good. That certainly was not like that. So a shift in the right direction. So far, that's been the theme, shifts in positive directions. So it's looking up. Indiana, 788 loads in to 1,292 loads out. Pretty good. Not as good as it was, but still very solid. Got some negotiating power there. Kansas, 337 loads in to 381 loads out. Not bad. It's above that average, that 50% mark. So, or that 50-50 mark, I should say. Kentucky, 561 loads in, 651 loads out. Also solid. That was below that 50% mark last couple of weeks. Louisiana, 413 loads in, 320 loads out. Meh. Massachusetts, 489 loads in, 284 out. Volumes up on that a little bit. Maryland, 381 loads in, 328 loads out. That has dipped a little bit, so Maryland going the opposite direction. Maine's got some freight, 81 trucks in, 104 out, so you don't have to bounce out of there if you're headed that way. Michigan, 632 loads in, 891 loads out. That is solid because the Michigan, Minnesota areas, it's been, kind of below par or below that 50-50 mark for the first half of the week. And then the last half of the week, it picks up. So certainly we're going to keep an eye up there, up north, and see if that trend continues. If that trend continues, you're going to be able to negotiate really well up there and make all the money. So that's looking good. Minnesota 476 to 470, so right there at that 50-50 mark. Not bad. That's that area that I'm talking about up there, though. Missouri 550 loads in, 792 out, above 50-50, looking good. Mississippi 295 in, 357 out, also looking good. Montana, it's got some freight, 57 loads in, 59 out, not much to say. North Carolina 1,411 loads in, 1,055 out. Now, the Carolinas and that Georgia, that Atlanta area have been terrible since I've started this, about for the last 6 weeks. But what I will say is that volume is up. So once again, trending in the right direction. Love to see it. North Dakota, 54 loads in, 131 out. So it still seems to be really positive. Good negotiating power up there. Nebraska, 196 loads in, 205 out. There's a shocker. That's really good. New Hampshire, 142 in to 42 out. Jersey, 728 loads in, 1,091 out. That volume is way down for Jersey, but it is still above that 50-50 mark. So, yeah, not a lot of negotiating power there, even though it is above that 50-50 mark, but is what it is. New Mexico, 134 loads in, 368 loads out. Fascinating. Now, New Mexico doesn't exactly pay very well to come out of there, but they've got some freight, and it looks like you can negotiate. So you can find a really, really hot paying load going into New Mexico. It might be worth the consideration. Maybe. Make sure you've got a load that you can book to get yourself out of there, because do not get stuck, especially on my account. Nevada, 210 loads in, 274 out. So that's dipping a little bit. From what I remember, that the loads out mark was in the 300s, and that was about average for loads in. So okay, it's slipping a little bit in Nevada, but still in decent shape. New York, volume's way down, 745 loads in to 1,088 out, same as Jersey. Don't need to repeat that. Ohio, 1,210 loads in to 1,896 loads out. So 50% more loads out than trucks that are sitting there. So that's really solid. Ohio's probably paying really well, and I looked for that to continue throughout the week. Oklahoma, volume's up a little bit, but you've got 438 loads in to 256 loads out. So not good shape, not going to get paid well, but moving in the right direction. Oregon, wow, 149 loads in, 553 loads out. Volume's picking way up. So I think it's safe to say, yeah, volume is definitely picking up in the markets. While they have likely been rough for the past couple of weeks, certainly look for that to move in the right direction if this pace continues. Pennsylvania, 1,596 loads in to 1,806 out. So that's about normal for loads out, but that's way up on loads in. A lot of that traffic, I know that the New Yorkers and the Jersey boys, I know that they like to bounce back and forth between PA. So that could be part of that, especially since we're seeing the volume so low over there. But that the freight volume is pretty good, and given the fact that it's still above that 50-50 mark, it's decent. But there's not a ton of negotiating power there, so just be careful. Rhode Island, 68 loads in to 37 loads out. South Carolina, 613 loads in, 759 loads out. Volume up in South Carolina. So if you are headed to Georgia or North Carolina, very likely you can get a little bit better paying load coming out of South Carolina. But it's not going to be anything to write home about, right? South Dakota, 74 loads in, 79 loads out. Not bad. Volume seems to be up. It's usually around the 50 load mark. So once again, at Tennessee, 862 loads in to 840 loads out. Both loads in and loads out, that's up in volume, so that's really good, and it's close to that 50-50 mark, which Tennessee's been struggling. So that's solid too. If you're headed to Atlanta, you can look to Tennessee to get something out. Texas, oh, I found all the truck drivers. 3,917 loads in. What? That's crazy. 1,989 loads headed out. So you're not going to get paid well, but certainly a lot of you headed that way. I hope you're all headed home. That's rough. Utah, 238 loads in to 264 loads out. That's actually pretty decent for Utah. Interesting. I know, at least on the skateboard side, they didn't really like to negotiate over there, but those loads usually sat there. They upped the pay on those. So anyway, Virginia, 794 loads in. Excuse me, 794 loads in to 652 out. A little bit below that 50-50 mark. So not a lot of negotiating going on in Virginia, but volume's up yet again. Vermont, 31 loads in to 59 loads out. Not bad. May not have to bounce out of there. Washington, 304 loads in, 649 loads out. That Northwest area is hot. And you may want to bounce back and forth before all the snowstorm starts up there. But from that northwest to the northern part, if you can help it, starting in the northwest at the beginning of the week may be the way to go. Bounce over to that northern part, and then if you can bounce back, sit there and do a reset and just sit there and wear that lane out. Light loads though, you don't want to go heavy. Running across those mountains over there will destroy your fuel mileage. But at the same time, might be a solid lane. Double check that. Check for yourself, but that might be a good one. Wisconsin, 617 loads into 1,073 out. That's solid. So what I just said seems to be working, and if the volume increases later on in the week, they're really going to be paying to move loads out. So that's looking really good. West Virginia, 91 loads in. If I can see the number, 91 loads in versus 143 out. So that's decent as well. And then Wyoming's got a little bit of freight, 48 loads in to 61 loads headed out of there. Yeah, volume is definitely up across the board for almost all states. So definitely seeing an increase of that, which is really, really good, really nice. If you're running the same lanes that you were a couple weeks ago and you're not making any more money, maybe try to switch a lane, maybe try to do something different, because I'm seeing a lot of good stuff up there. So we're going to dip into the trend lines. I normally do this on Mondays, but even though today's Wednesday, obviously I didn't go over this. So spot load posts, week over week, the load post, it's showing to be down 6%. So, given that I'm seeing volume way up for a lot of these states, the fact that it's down 6% is a bit of a shock, actually. So, although that was a much higher number a couple weeks ago, I think we're certainly moving in the right direction. Now, when you compare that from last year, bad shape, right? Almost 20%. The load to truck ratio is, you can see it right here. It's up 1%, and that we're actually looking from last week compared to the week before, to 2 weeks ago. So that looks to be like it's going to change nicely next week. Sorry, couldn't spit it out. The spot rates are down almost 1%. Hate to see that. That's just poor planning for some of the drivers willing to take cheap freight. Knock it off if that's you. Flatbed load to truck ratio is up almost 5%. That's solid. The spot rates are up almost 0.5%. Typically, skateboarders, not always, but typically skateboarders are a little bit more seasoned, and you can see the difference, right? That's a 1.5% increase. On $100,000 made, that's $1,500 a year. I don't know about you, but $1,500 is a lot to me. Reefer down 7.2% in the volume. And as a reflection, the spot rates are down 1.5%, but I think they're out of season, right? Not sure. Fuel price is showing to be down 8% or 0.8%. We'll see in a minute. The national spot rates. So van, it's down from August. It's down 3 pennies to $1.98 average. And this is all markets, right? Keep this in mind. Flatbed's down 1 penny to $2.39, and reefer's down 3 pennies to $2.38. And the average fuel rate, weekly percentage change, almost 1%, down to $3.53 per gallon. Rough. So moving over to the market conditions. So now we get to look and see where the freight is actually at. So, like, California was in okay shape. They were above that 50-50 mark. Well, not all of California is above that 50-50 mark. As you can see on this map over here on the left-hand side, the only part that's red, which would be a hot market, is the Los Angeles market. And that which absolutely does not include San Diego. So if you're headed that way and you're going to San Diego and you're wondering why there's not any loads down there, well, that's because it's all up in the Los Angeles area. So, looking up here at this Northwest, it's kind of the same. I mean, it is, it's teetering between hot and average. But considering that a couple of weeks ago it was entirely blue, which is way below average, that is certainly a trend in the right direction, and is certainly heating up. But it looks like the majority of the freight is actually going to be down, in the Portland area as opposed to the Seattle area. But if you are up there, I would highly recommend, at least I did, kind of broadening your search for a little bit larger deadhead, because a lot of times they get some hot loads out of there and they will pay very, very handsomely. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to bounce. There's nothing wrong with deadheading as long as it makes sense. But you got to know your numbers, which is a little sneak peek into the video that's coming out. Looking over, I mean, Colorado is showing average, but Colorado scares me. That's crazy. Now, this is what's interesting is that New Mexico is completely blue. Um, it's not showing that any specific market is up, but yet the load to truck ratio is way above average there in New Mexico. So don't just blindly take a high paying load over to New Mexico. Just make sure that you can absolutely book a load back out. And oftentimes, what you can do is if you find a really high paying load going there, you can say, okay, I'm going to call you right back. And you've already done the research on the New Mexico loads. You can call up the New Mexico load, and when you speak with them, you can negotiate. You can always negotiate in these terrible markets because they're just as afraid of you as that load getting stuck as you are getting stuck. You can call and negotiate, and you can tell them, if all the terms are acceptable, just be like, okay, look, I got to make a call on this other load real quick. They're expecting my call. Can you hold this load for me for 10 minutes? And they'll say, yeah, sure, or no, they won't. But if they say, yeah, sure, just be like, look, okay, I'm going to book this other load and I'm headed this way. There's like a 99% chance that I'm going to book yours. But I've got to make sure that I've got the load coming this way before I commit to that. Is that fair? And they're going to say, yes. You say, great, I will call you back in 10 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Looking over at Texas, don't trust this. Don't trust this at all. But all the freight's in Houston and Dallas. But it doesn't pay worth a damn. So don't worry about it. Over here in the Arkansas was below average and Tennessee was okay. So if you are headed to Arkansas, hopefully you're headed to the Little Rock area. But you may need to get over there to snag a load out of Little Rock or likely out of Memphis, because it's showing to be all the freight over on the western side of Tennessee. Looking down here at this Atlanta market, I don't trust this at all. All of the freight in North Carolina is, none of it's showing to be on the coast. It's showing to all be on that western half. But, that's just been a really rough market since I've been watching this. So just be careful over there. And remember, South Carolina is the one that has the freight. So definitely expand your search over there to hopefully find a good paying load. Looking up into the Midwest, what was it? Illinois was way up. And I mean, no surprise, right? The majority of the freight's up there in Chicago. Not a surprise whatsoever. Chicago, Indiana, Ohio, that's your bread and butter. You can pretty much always find a good paying load. Are you going to be able to negotiate a whole lot up there? No. And the reason you're not going to be able to is because there's just so many trucks there, and they pay well usually. Usually you got to find a good paying load out of there. If you kind of find a specialized load, maybe you can get a bounce. Always ask for a bounce, because what's the worst they can say? No. No big deal, but not a ton of negotiating, but at the same time, freight usually pays pretty well coming out of there. So, and then looking up in the north, Michigan, of course, the freight's on the western half, although it does look like Detroit's heating up a little bit. maybe that's a precursor to the car market picking up. We'll see. Wisconsin, the freight's over on the eastern half, as per usual. And then up there in Minnesota, it's showing the freight to be around Minneapolis. Also, not a surprise. And then we've got the Northeast, Pennsylvania. The majority of the freight is over on that eastern half, but the western half is still showing average, which usually by Wednesday, it's already kind of cooled off. So freight's looking solid there in Pennsylvania, and then it's below average there in New York and Jersey. But yeah. So anyway, there it is. There is your trucking market update. I do appreciate you guys tuning in to this. It means a lot to me, and it's highly appreciated. I don't know when it's going to happen, but these are going to move to. They're going to move to pre-recorded versions. It's more work for me, but in the long run, it will save you guys from my rambling. It'll make better use of your time, and it'll reach out to the algorithm better. I don't know about you guys, but I don't always click on live streams like other channels that I don't know. If I see that it's a live, usually I kind of skip it. So just kind of for the growth overall, which is good for everybody, right? Of course, it's good for me. It's good for sponsors, but it's in return, it's good for you guys too, because then I get to bring you more stuff that helps you. I get to give away more free stuff, all the things. So that is what it looks like for the trucking market update. I couldn't find my mouse. Yeah, so that's what we got. Anybody have any questions or anything? I imagine that you would have probably already said something by now. I don't see any questions in chats. James Collins supposed to land on Friday in the Big Bend area. Uh-oh. Cheap freight hauler. I just scored 1.17 out of Georgia winning. I hope that was a partial. Good Lord. That's rough, man. Trend lines are last week's, but yeah, trend lines are last week business. Pumpkins are moving now. That's the big bump in New Mexico this week. Gotcha. But wait, can you put pumpkins? Are they non reefer? You can put them on. You can put them in a van, because that's what that map that I'm showing is van freight, right? Yeah, National Load Count vans. Can you put pumpkins in a van? I don't know. I never hauled fruit, believe it or not. Even though I worked the first 5 years of my trucking career at a reefer company, I never hauled any kind of produce whatsoever. Which, to be honest, I'm fine with. I hear it's a royal pain. There's a lot of oh man, what's the term for bad freight? OS&D, is that right? Anyway, I hauled meat a lot, and I hauled blood plasma, so it's not like that was very highly regulated. We had to stop every, I forget how many hours. We had to stop every X amount of hours, and we had to actually record the temperature, and it was a big deal. But just never hauled produce. Yep, search Farmington, New Mexico. Oh, okay. I just got 319 out of South Georgia to Nashville. Well done, Laramie. Well done. 319. That's a banger coming out of Atlanta right now. You killed it. I forget what the Georgia load to truck ratio is. Oh, 1,858 loads into 1,185 out. I'm shocked you got that, man, Laramie. That's a surprise, especially given all the Florida boys with no freight to haul out of there. That's wild. 319 out of South Georgia to Nashville. That's a nice repositioning there. Nice easy little 1-day run. Get you a little rest. Hopefully you can kick it off. Hopefully you can kick it off when you get there. If you can't, not the end of the world. Get it that unload early and catch you a nice reload. Nashville seems to be pretty solid. Kentucky had a decent amount of freight. The western half of Tennessee was okay. Looks like, I don't know about you. I don't know where you like to run, but maybe if you can catch a load up north, Michigan, maybe Minnesota. I don't know. I didn't really like going up to Minnesota coming from the east. I didn't mind going up there from Texas, right? But I just hated driving in that Chicago area. I hated it. The traffic was just god awful. You got tolls everywhere. I don't know. The joys and perks of being an owner operator. You get to decide which lanes that you want to run. So, all right, well, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't hit that like button, please do that. I do appreciate it. Helps the rhythms, the algorithms, all the things. It's greatly appreciated. Look out for that new video dropping. I don't know if it's coming out today. It's possible, but I don't know. Maybe not. Anyway, you guys, I'll probably grab some coils out of Murfreesboro, going to Laurel. Are you running skateboard, Laramie? I mean, I know you can run those painted coils. You can run those in a van. I'm curious. I don't want to end the stream yet. I want to see Laramie's answer, if he's running skateboard or if he's running a van. Because 319 out of South Georgia is just mind blowing. I did catch some pretty decent loads, pretty decent paying loads on both my flatbed as well as my step deck coming there. That makes sense. Yeah, you're a flatbedder. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad to hear flatbedders are making money. All right, there you go. A 53-foot flat. Nice. Hope it's a light one. What's your max weight that you can haul? Are you like some of these crazy guys that have the super light truck and the super light trailer? You can haul like 48,000 pounds. Blew my mind. When I would see loads on the spot market for 48,000 pounds that needed to be hauled on. I even saw it sometimes on step decks. It just blew my mind because I had a super light trailer, super light truck, and I can't remember what my exact max weight that I could haul was, but it was like, I think I could technically have pushed it to 47, but I don't think I ever hauled anything over 46.5. Yeah, that's just crazy. You can get 51,000? How? That's wow. Are you running a single axle? That's crazy. I see, like, that just blows my mind. I don't know how you can get 51,000 pounds on that. That's wild. But cool, man. I mean, that's fantastic. You can haul some stuff that almost qualifies for oversize. Pretty cool. Pete 579 Rittenhour Maximizer. Dang, man. That's wild. That's a nice setup though. I love that. I love that Rittenhour. I wish I didn't buy the Low Pro though. Them tires ate me up. Ate the pocketbook up too. But I love that Rittenhour. That thing was nice. All right, guys. Well, y'all have a good day. Keep the shiny side up. Stay driven. Do all the things. I think I'm gonna go eat. I'm hungry. You guys stay safe, and I will hasta mañana. See you tomorrow.